Hey, I know what we're going to do today. I've got the world famous 3 times James Beard award-winning chef Jimmy Schmidt, who has graciously stuck around after introducing his phenomenal JR Ranch Foods beef with benefits, food you love that loves you back. And I've talked him into sticking around in the kitchen because I hear all the time from you guys, my patients, we love condiments. Condiments we grew up with. Mayonnaise, ketchup, bottled salad dressings. And we're going to show you today how to do it right. So I want you to do something very quickly. Now pause the video, run to your refrigerator or cabinet, and grab your go-to condiment. Mayonnaise, ketchup, even your favorite salad dressing. Take that jar and check out the ingredients. Now, here's something that's probably in everybody's cabinet. Mayonnaise, mayo. Look at the back of the ingredients. First ingredient is soybean oil. First of all, that is mostly an omega-6 fat. It's loaded with lectins, and it's the #1 ingredient. Okay, second is eggs and egg yolks. Well, I can guarantee you that these did not come from pastured hens. Next one's water. Okay, we finally got a decent ingredient. Distilled vinegar, that'll do okay. Oops, next ingredient is sugar. And sure enough, then there's some really interesting, weird protecting things to protect the flavor, which is usually an endocrine disruptor. So this has got 12 grams of evil oil per serving, and that's a tablespoon. And I guarantee you're probably using more than a tablespoon. So Jimmy, this is what people are killing themselves with every day.
Absolutely. Mayonnaise is lovely. It's the #1 condiment in the world by fact, but it could be the best nutritional delivery system ever.
All right, so how do we fix this?
Well, it's pretty easy. First of all, we're going to get some lemon juice, although you do need an acid in making this dish. So we're just going to squeeze these lemons in here.
And can they just buy bottled lemon juice, or do we need fresh lemons?
Well, fresh lemons are better.
Okay.
Because obviously they haven't been manipulated or, heat has not been applied to them to diminish their nutrients. With citrus, the fresh form of it is completely bioavailable. Unlike, heat usually helps everything else. It doesn't really help lemons. So let's get some lemon juice in there. Now the lemon is important not just for flavor, but it acts as an acid which helps support the emulsification. And emulsification is usually 2 items, liquids, like water and oil, that don't like to hold each other together. But through emulsion, through technique, the oil turns into very tiny droplets and then starts to thicken. So we've got our lemon juice in here. We'll add in the egg yolks. Now,
did you guys see the color of those egg yolks? I feel like I'm back in Italy. This is actually pastured.
Yeah, they're beautiful
chickens.
Egg yolks.
Yeah.
So we're going to make an emulsion. The first emulsion and primary one is between the fat of the yolk and the acid of the yolk and the protein structure because, yolks have fat in them. Good fat. So first we start here to get our primary emulsion started, as you can see. That's what the acid supports. Second, we're going to throw in a little bit of mustard for flavor, but also the mustard is an emulsifier too.
Ah.
So now it's a walk in the park to get this done. Now our primary emulsion is in place. You can start to drizzle in the oil. We start slowly so that we can get all the oil broken down into those little droplets.
And that's one of the keys I learned long ago, probably from you. Do this part slowly. Don't just dump in a half a cup.
And if it ever gets too thick and starts to break, the oil coming out of suspension, add more liquid, which would then emulsify it back in.
Looking good.
It sure is. Looks good.
I like it.
Slowly add the olive oil so that it begins to form the small droplets that will form the emulsion. And you continue slowly, it'll continue to break down those droplets, disperse it within the liquids, and thicken the sauce naturally so that you end up with
And
the
I think you
mayonnaise.
taught me, don't just take the half a cup of olive oil and drop it in.
Right, because you will not be able to disperse it into droplets to form the emulsion. And the emulsion is now a permanent one, and it will hold together and not break. It's beautiful. Now it just needs some salt.
Okay.
That's your department.
All right. And please, please, folks, get yourself iodized sea salt. It's almost in every grocery store now. If not, you can go to your online place. It's easy to find. I've got literally 6 or 8 different iodized sea salts at any time. And we're going to put some. Why the iodized sea salt, folks? I check thyroid levels on all my patients, and you wouldn't believe the number of people who are hypothyroid because they're using pink salt or sea salt and it doesn't have any iodine. I change them over to iodized salt and they're good to go. Yeah, a little more, huh?
Right, and iodine is important for brain development too.
Absolutely.
Beautiful mayonnaise, that's simple.
And that's it.
That's it.
Now, we can put that in the refrigerator and it won't separate yet.
That's correct. And yeah, store it in the refrigeration for a week to 2 weeks, especially if you're using good eggs. And if you want to store it longer, you can always take the yolks, mix them with a little bit of water, and microwave them just for 10 seconds and stir it in 10 seconds, that type of thing. And you'll actually pasteurize the egg yolk, which will solidify it from any type of growth. And then you have a long-term solution too.
What a great trick.
Yeah,
All
nothing
right,
but fun.
thank you. Good trick. All right. So, that's not hard, folks. It's easy. And you're going to have something, again, food you love that loves you back. All right, let's go on. Okay. Now, you probably grabbed a salad dressing. And nothing better than bottled salad dressing. It's easy. It's quick.
It's got to be healthy, right?
It's got to be healthy. And it's got healthy ingredients, and particularly the expensive ones sound really healthy. Like this one is gluten-free, no high fructose corn syrup, no MSG, it's vegetarian. But the number one ingredient is canola oil. Now, canola oil, unless it says organic canola oil, is usually a horrible choice because almost all canola in North America is sprayed with Roundup. And about 95% of canola oil is sprayed with Roundup. So that's not a great choice. Water, oh good. Rice vinegar, we're okay. Oops, here comes the trouble. Honey, cane sugar. So honey is the third ingredient. Cane sugar is the fourth ingredient. There's actually 4 grams of sugars in 2 tablespoons. A gram, there's 4 grams of carbohydrates in a teaspoon of sugar. So each one of these is 2 tablespoons is a teaspoon of sugar. So you got a bad oil and sugars, but it sounds so wonderful. So how do we fix this?
Well, dressings are very easy to make, and there's so many wonderful choices out there with different types of vinegars, whether a red wine vinegar that gives you those, nutrients, or a balsamic, which has been aged and is lovely and delicious. There's a new one coming on the market next year, which is cherry wine vinegar.
Ooh.
Cherries are absolutely full of polyphenols. They are turned into juice, which is still full of polyphenols, but full of sugar. So they actually ferment it into wine to get rid of the sugar and then convert the wine into vinegar with live culture so you get the benefit out of the vinegar in your gut, but with 5 times more polyphenols than anything else on the market. Plus, it's very pretty. So we'll do this. So we'll start off with a little bit of vinegar. And you don't need much. Usually that's like a 3 to 4 to 1 ratio of oil to it. Now the trick is on shallots. Shallots can be a little biting,
Yeah.
So if you take them and put them in a paper towel and squeeze them, you can remove that level of juice that has been triggered by us cutting them. As we cut them, it's releasing certain enzymes to protect itself to try to heal the shallot because the shallot doesn't know it's dead. Just because it's on the counter, it just thinks it's hanging out. So you squeeze it, you draw out those juices. This is also the trick the French use on their famous mignonette sauce for oysters. You add the shallots in, and then mix it in with the vinegar. Now, if you got a little bit of time, you can always let it sit, and it actually, kind of, pickles the shallots, which makes them quite delightful. All right. Next up, I am going to throw in mustard. I like
good.
mustard.
I do too. And it's so easy. It makes a big difference.
Maybe I can.
Maybe you can if we took the top off.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Fooled me. It's not nice to fool the chef.
That's right. And is it okay if I use dry mustard? I actually use dry mustard a lot.
Dry mustard is great.
Okay.
It's dry before it turns wet again.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's part of the flavor development. All right, now you can start to add in the oil.
Okay.
And we're going to do about 3 times the amount of vinegar we put in. Now, the mustard will actually help this emulsion, as we talked about before. It is not a permanent emulsion like we did with the mayonnaise because of, the attributes of the yolk and such. That protein structure makes it a permanent emulsion. It's beautiful, but now you're going to get the delicious flavor of the shallots, the vinegar, the mustard, and the oil. And see how it's thickening up so it'll coat very nicely?
Trouble is...
Yeah, this is your famous Chef Select olive oil, which is absolutely spectacular in flavor and polyphenols.
Yeah, this particular olive oil, the reason it's called Chef Select is that this particular olive oil is used by more 1, 2, and 3-star Michelin chefs in the world. And it actually comes from the same grower and his family that makes high polyphenol Gundry and Jimmy olive oil.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
And you know why Italians invented salads, don't you?
To get the olive oil.
Exactly.
Yeah, the only purpose of food is to get olive oil into your mouth.
Right. So throw some salt in there, any other spices you want to put in. It's awesome. And it really is that easy.
It's about right.
Yep. And we're good to go. It's that simple.
Boom.
Tastes better for you.
And we could put that in the refrigerator, even in a shake bottle to
for a couple of weeks, no
it.
problem.
Yeah.
Since you kind of pickled the shallots, they will stay very stable in that point.
All right. Now, here's everybody's favorite condiment of all time, ketchup. Now, what can I say about tomatoes? Well, first of all, tomatoes are part of the nightshade family. They have peels and seeds that are loaded with lectins. And interesting, Italians by law to make tomato paste or tomato sauce, the tomatoes have to be peeled and de-seeded. There is no such law in the United States. Now, if that's not bad enough, for instance, the first ingredient is tomato. It doesn't say peeled and de-seeded tomatoes, it says tomato. So what they do is just throw tomatoes in. Distilled vinegar, second ingredient. Oops, high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup, normally sugar, sucrose, is half glucose and half fructose. Anything beyond that is more fructose than sucrose. And there's no law determining how high the high fructose can be. Sometimes it's 55%, sometimes it's 60, 70%. And fructose, sadly, is turned into fat in our liver. Oh no! So there's high fructose corn syrup, but to add insult to injury, they then add corn syrup, which is...
That's crazy.
It's like double whammy. And then there's salt and spices and onion powder. And so there's 4 grams of sugar in 1 tablespoon. And so each tablespoon, and nobody uses a tablespoon, you're getting a teaspoon of sugar in every tablespoon. And it's bad sugar. So let's get rid of this. What can we use instead?
Well, we can start with, tomato paste. Tomato paste is a good choice because it's pretty uniform. Because it's actually, cooked and reduced down to a certain density and a certain brick level, so you know what's going on with it. You can also use other, tomato purees.
Yeah.
They're a little looser, may not mimic the texture that you want when you add in the rest of the ingredients.
Now, you just chef spoke. What's a bricks level? We're not making a brick ketchup, are we?
No, we're not. Bricks is actually a measure of concentration that can be applied to things like sugar, but it can also be applied with other substance on density ratio. Okay, so we'll throw this old tomato paste in here.
Okay.
We'll give it a little bit of a swirl around. We want to put in, we do want it sweeter, you know, we
Yeah,
like stuff that's
yeah.
sweet. Why don't you throw some of your allulose in there?
So the thing
I'll explain what it is.
So allulose is actually a true sugar. It was first discovered in figs, but it has absolutely not only no calories, but it was actually found to be a prebiotic that friendly bacteria love. And there's some interesting human studies that regular use of allulose allows weight loss, and allulose seems to prevent the sugar spikes, particularly that you get for coffee or something like that. So it's a win-win. It has no calories, but it actually can help you lose weight and feed good bacteria. So,
Right. So, in keeping with the recipe, we're throwing in a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar. This has active cultures in it. You could use cherry vinegar as well if you wanted to, but you want to throw in more of a neutral red flavor. I think, you know, flavors are very direct colors. So you think orange is a color, orange is a flavor. So in this case, we're keeping that red kind of flavor going. So then you want to give me a shake of, we've got garlic and onion, which is the traditional route, and powder. And they're pretty effective of being able to add it and mimic the regular flavor. Now, if you want to go a step further, then you can throw in things like paprika, which is again red flavor. Go ahead, or turmeric is also fun too.
let's go for some paprika.
Okay, and obviously paprika is full of polyphenols.
Yep.
And a little turmeric too.
Here it comes.
There we go. You can always make a caution orange mayonnaise with
Oh,
turmeric.
that'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Change of colors.
And how about a little black pepper?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Right, now, the taste is already there. It will work really well. Obviously, actually, why don't we, I'll slide this over here. We'll put it in a pan to cook it just briefly. And with just a little, can you add in a little splash of water for me?
Mm-hmm.
And it will reduce down back into texture. Now, the purpose of heating it is heat is an active ingredient, obviously, that allows the flavor of the spices to be released, the volatile oils as they're called.
Right.
And having them being released makes them more bioavailable. So this is a case where heat is really good to expand that flavor. So it's a great delivery method for additional polyphenols and flavor.
And how fast was that?
It's fast. And if you're in a hurry, you don't even have to throw it on the stove. You'll miss a little polyphenol, no big deal.
Okay.
Your gut will work out the rest.
So we'll put this on the stove so we can have it for later. All right. All right. So there it is. 3 really bad condiments for your health that you're probably using every day. 3 really quick ways to make these condiments food you love that loves you back. More amazing episodes just like this one. Watch now. Old birthday cake demo. I call it the polyphenol packed Life by Chocolate cake. It's delicious, sugar-free, lectin-free, and full of polyphenol-rich ingredients